Hey, what's up, guys? This is Sam, and I'll be doing the free video for July 2nd, 2021. So, as always, I just got finished making the premium video for the folks in the Gold Room, and we did a pretty quick, by our standards at least, trip around the world. So, we looked at the indices, we looked at world markets, we looked at bonds, we looked at currencies, we look at each and every sector, and just try to get an idea of how the market looks going into next week. And one sentence kept coming up, and that is wildly bullish, wildly extended. Wildly bullish, wildly extended. So I'm going to start there with you guys, just kind of briefly covering the SPY positioning, and then kind of just throw a couple of ideas at you because going into next week, from what I'm seeing, we should see a little bit of broader base participation. It was only a tech rally this week, mostly at least, especially in the FANG stocks, and I do expect for that to continue. But I'm also seeing some signs that the parts of the market that are lagging, what's called the inflation part of the market, like materials, financials, energy to some degree, transports, they're all showing me signs of life. Even copper futures. So we could see a little bit of a rotation next week because those parts of the market aren't wildly extended, whereas the rest of the market kind of is. So with that said, let's go ahead and just dive in here and check out the SPY. And then I'm going to have a little bit of commentary around the breadth of the market, which you should be aware of. And then I'm going to throw one stock at you and leave you with a little bit of homework in terms of, well, I'll throw two stocks at you and then leave you with a little bit of homework. This should be simple, but that'll be helpful, I think. So here's the SPY. It's the S&P 500. There is room on this thing based on symmetry, about $2 higher, $2.40 or so higher. Target would be 436.16, and that actually overlaps with 3 ATR. At the moment, though, you are 2.5 ATRs to the upside. And, it's kind of a rare place to be. You can see the vast majority of the time we have been below 2 ATR. So can it continue? Yeah, there's clearly room here to the upside, but you are also pretty darn extended here. So it's a wildly bullish chart. Everything's aligned. No sell signals on the weekly, but it's also, in my opinion, wildly extended. So just, be a little bit smart when you enter next week. Things are looking great, but I don't believe, speaking to a group that's of mostly professional traders, I don't believe that chasing at this point is the most pro move. So, keep a sober head. So let's move on to two stocks here, and it's going to be classic Google, just because it's such a beast and so pretty, and everything's aligned. So what I've been seeing pretty much now for about 3 weeks, and then we saw it again this week. I was expecting it to change, but we didn't see that, and that is the breadth of the market. So the breadth that I follow, you can follow in a couple of different ways. On TOS, I like to follow it using the AD USD, and you can just look at that maybe on a daily chart. And you can see that this shows the advanced declining stocks for pretty much the entire stock market. And you'll see that today it was actually a negative number. So that means that more stocks fell than stocks that went up, right? Now, we're making new highs with declining internals. And that's not usually a good sign, right? Now, it's not going to matter till it matters, but it ain't usually a good sign to have higher and higher and higher on the indices with less and less and less stocks participating. That's usually a sign of early weakness, to be honest. But just an early warning signal for now, maybe a light yellow light. Light yellow light. So it's something to be aware of. You can track it using this. So what does it mean? Well, you're making new highs in the market, so who cares, right? Until they care. But because you're making new highs in the market, you have to ask yourself, well, if most of the market's actually going lower, or a lot of parts of the market are going lower, but we're making new highs, where's the strength coming from? Well, all of the strength right now is being concentrated in the FANG stocks. So the one that we're choosing to look at here together is just Google. Another one would be Amazon. Another one is Apple. Another one is Microsoft, right? And just go through these on your own and just choose the best one that you think matches your style and your indicators best. For me, It's going to be Google or Amazon right off the bat. Google's just easy, so that's the one I'm going to bring you. Everything's aligned here. We don't even really have to cover it. You can kind of just see it. Green over red, squeeze, perfect trend, holding structure. This is the old all-time high. Nice base here at the highs, right? Digesting the old high, making a base, pushing off. Good volume. No sell signals on the weekly. Kind of a perfect chart. So keep it simple, but also understand the idea around the breadth signals, because basically, unless the breadth rapidly improves, the market is saying it's going to go higher, but on less and less and less stocks, and therefore you can only be in the stocks that are moving the market, because if you're in anything else, it ain't going to work. And the market's going to go higher. And that's like the worst situation, when the market goes up and the stock you're in goes down, right? And you can avoid that, assuming the internals don't improve, by just focusing on where the strength is. And the strength is in the FANG stocks. So that's Google. And then the next one is CLF. CLF here, obviously this isn't a FANG stock, but I do see a little bit of rotation back into this space. And I think this specific stock has a lot of energy here. So I took a shot on this yesterday. I already sold it. I sold it at the end of the day. I didn't need to turn that into a day trade, but I did. But I'm going to be looking to get back into this, because this is still a fresh signal. Slingshot squeeze, 195-minute squeeze, weekly squeeze. We've seen that when it pulls back to the 8 on the weekly, it does tend to go to weekly ATR, right? It can't get above 2 weekly ATR, but that's been the pattern, 8 to 2 ATR on the weekly. So that would imply right around 25, right, if the pattern continues. So I do like this name because of what I did start to see a little bit of rotation in the market, and because it's not extended. So just 2 ideas for you. Make sure that you have a pretty good understanding of the breadth dynamics going on under the market. If you have any questions, you could throw them into the comments below, or just stop by Simpler Trading. I think it's like $7 to try us out for a week or so. And you can ask us the questions about the breadth, or whatever questions you may have directly. So we'd love to see you in the room. Or if you have questions, just drop in the comments, and we'll try our best to answer them there. All right, guys, that is my time. I hope it was helpful. Have a great 4th of July. Enjoy this beautiful country that we have. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Cheers.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me